Hey there everyone, welcome back. Before we go ahead and address the DMT farm in the form of a tutorial, I must first learn it myself. A long time ago, when Kronos WoW was the only viable option, I knew it well. But things have changed a lot since then. They have changed, but this is still possible. This is going to take a while, so let's get to it without any further delay. Enjoy. So, one of the great things about this here farm is that it actually has no gear requirement. You could do it as a fresh 60, you could do it naked if you wanted to. It only requires execution, performance, which isn't my strong suit either. You guys know that I tend to be a little bit scatterbrained, but I am nothing if not persistent, so we will trudge along, we will suffer through, and pull out ahead in the end. Since I have the crescent key, I can get in here. And so I let myself in. And I let my friend know that I'm going in now, so we're gonna cut the chatter and get going. Now what I do remember is walking right over here, and this thing pulls from very far away because the aggro radius is much larger than we're accustomed to on Official Classic. That much I know. I try for the ICS there, but it does not proc, and therefore I get frostbolted, but the low spot here means that this mage is hardly dangerous. Nor is anything else in this first pack, because we're evading everything up here. That was the sure-footed talent, resisting the slow component of the frostbolt, but not the damage component. Here, I'm remembering that I used to run past one of these packs and scatter something, but we're not going to do that. I do want to test if this wooden structure is loosable. So we're going to drop a trap right here, and we're going to see. The mage did start casting on me, so this is not a low spot. But I don't have the good sense to feign death right there, so this right here on the second pack is our first death. We're off to a great start, don't you think? The second attempt will hopefully go much better. I'm going to try a bit of a different pull here. I'm going to shoot this one with the rank 1 arcane, pull it back into a freezing trap, and then move past it. But that does feel quite unnatural to me. I don't really like it. So I think I'm going to stick with Scattershot. These mobs will pull, and this is the only spot I know of at this time to get up. But there are more. I've lost the first frostbolt, but the second one is being cast. Once again, ICS does not proc, but I still make it behind cover, just in time. Now that we're at the second pack once again, I am going to summon my pet. We're going to pet pull this, but my pet is ordered to stay right there, unfortunately, because I'm not yet accustomed to using my stay macro on Official Classic. So we're going to feign death right here. It's not a perfectly responsive macro, and it's just something that I have to get used to. Now, these two patrols will move along. And once they do, we can proceed on up the ramp. By the way, I am running a survival spec at the moment with improved feign death. So that's helpful for learning this. And also, I never looked at any resources prior to beginning my experimentation here. I refused to spoil this for myself. So, this is 100% blind. We are learning as we go along. That there brute needs to come into this here freezing trap. There we go. Now we can go ahead and... Oh, I heard a dog. There it is behind me. I've pulled it somehow. But it's fine, I'm going to feign death right here. And I'm going to grab that there key, which is in the center of this here courtyard. Fengus is the only NPC that patrols to the center of this area. So in between all these pillars is actually relatively safe. You can even lose him if he does pass by. There are patrols that encircle the pillars at other times, much more often than Fengus drops by. I do see that there's a pack on the side there. And there should be stuff moving in behind me, so I'm going to jump over here and hope it does not pull. It does not. So I'm going to walk down here. It looks like we're in the clear, which means we're on to the first Warlocks and Reavers. For some reason I pull my pet out here, and, well, I didn't even review my own tutorial for this. The one for Kronos. But I don't remember using a pet pull here. I remember scattering, freezing trap, etc. So we're going to try that. I also see this eye here incoming, so we're going to take it out before anything else. There it goes. We are in the clear to give this a shot. So let's shoot. We fired off the rank 1 arcane. This Reaver is going to walk into the freezing trap. And I've been crippled by the Doomguard minion. But I do have my PvP trinket up, which dispels the cripple. Now we can run by just fine. That was pretty awkward though. So I don't think I like this strategy either. We're gonna have to figure something out. Either way, I'll feign death right here and we'll consider what to do for the next pack. That pack behind us has reset. This pack ahead in front of us is well, we gotta get through it to the next doorway. I'm not sure if I can even get through there because there are bugs beyond the next doorway. And I'm not entirely sure if I can stand in that spot and not pull something. But we're gonna try it. We've got to try it. My feign death is about up, so let's fire a shot on the Reaver. It's gonna do some weird paving meme. Now we'll wing equip the Doomguard, scatter the Warlock. I am crippled again, but I think we can slow walk over to that doorway and still be alive, barely. I'll pop a superior healing potion. I brought a couple of those just for convenience, and we'll feign death. Clearly that is not a viable strategy, and I'll have to think of something else to get past there. I've gotten up into Shadow Melt safely, and it seems that I can, indeed, stand here without pulling something. Now, the other thing that I remember is that I always killed the bugs on the way up. So we're going to do exactly that. I happen to have brought some goblin landmines, so I'm going to drop an explosive trap. I'm going to drop one of those goblin landmines. And we're going to use our pet to gather up all those bugs, just like we did back on Kronos. It seems that some strategies are still functional, although I would rather not waste perfectly good landmines on a bunch of bugs. Rapture's taking quite a lot of damage there. One of the bugs is still on him, but most of the bugs are coming towards me. And they get nearly insta-gibbed by that explosive combo. All I need to do is wait while the damage over time effect ticks them down to death, and I can pew-pew with the other one to finish it off. Easy enough, but surely not ideal. That was very dangerous. I did not pop to turrets and I nearly died. So just imagine if I tried to say do that with 2 explosive traps and then feign death resisted or something. Obviously, it does require some planning. And speaking of planning, I know that guard slipkick is somewhere around here. There he is. I've marked him up with the triangle, which we could see through the wall. And again, I don't quite recall what I do with the Reavers here. I don't remember if I pull them into a freezing trap or what, but we'll have to improvise a little bit. That's what we're here to do. We're here to experiment. We're here to determine what feels natural and what does not. I'm going to dismiss my pet here. Slipkick will patrol all the way near that goblin. I do remember that. It should be the same on Official Classic. Oh, and here's the second eye. So we'll pew-pew at it. 2 auto shots should finish it off. Easy peasy. And now I'll get around the corner very quickly before Slipkick comes and finds me. I do not want to try Shadow Melt here for now. I want to see what I can, how I can slip by Slipkick without it. Once Slip moves all the way over there to the end of his patrol path, I think now is the time to move. Oh yeah, he's turning around sooner than I expected, but I was still able to get by. Going to freezing trap one of these guys, scattershot the other. A very slick maneuver. Now we'll feign death right here. This, I've been told, is the place to use an invisibility potion. This is one of the only things I spoiled. As you may have noticed, I have only lessers on me. And because I'm running in a slightly rounded path, this is going to be very close. I just barely make it to the top of this ramp before it wears off and I do not aggro the thing behind me. If you are using lessers, you must run in a straight line and not give a single heck about whatever is in your way. That Reaver, that pack on the right, has never presented a problem to me on Kronos, but here it is on Official Classic, presenting a problem. Knowing that it does pull, I imagine that I may need to do something strange here in order to get past that blocked door, the one that we must use the large C4 on. The one that means that engineering is required. So here I go, I'm going to send my pet at the Reavers, and hopefully he'll pull the mobs on the side. It seems that the mobs are pulled onto my pet, but nope, it turns out that the Warlock and Doomguard are on me for some reason. I don't know how that happens, but either way, I cannot open the locked door like this. I'm going to run back here, feign death, Rapture is going to die, and then we'll see about a different strategy for opening that locked door, one that does not involve such a risky pull. Now that everything's reset, I feel fairly safe getting up into Shadow Meld, which does work, and I'm going to remain here in this corner until my feign death is somewhat off cooldown. Now, I know that that pack on the right is able to see me through the wooden structure, because it's not Lowe's. So I'm not sure if I can step to the right in order to res my pet and have it spawn in a desirable location. I try to res him in the corner though, and well, that does not work. He dies instantly, and I'm going to have to feign death again, but I'm going to do it back here, where I can safely plan. There you go, you go on back to the door, I'm dead. Don't worry about me. Rapture's mad at me now. I'm sorry, buddy. Alright, so I was able to get here without pulling the thing around the corner. And there Rapture goes, and I'm a little bit panicked because he spawns kind of out there, but it seems that he's okay there. So, given that he's okay, I'm going to have him do the pet pull. I'm going to have him growl, send him back to the stay location, and I'm going to scatter that target just to give Rapture a little bit more time. Which is a good idea because it does not seem that the trap is even going off in that position. Rapture is dead, but I'm going to feign death here, and we'll resurrect him and prepare for the next pack. This is a process of learning and preparation. It's better him than me because I can bring him back. I send him back to passive before hitting my macro because my macro is a little bit unresponsive, but he dies so fast, it was practically 100 to 0. So I'm going to feign death right here. It seems that this is, in fact, a safe spot. While we're here, I can res up my pet, get him good and alive again, and then yeet on past Krom Crush. By myself. I do not need Rapture for this. I've got deterrence. I'm survival spec. Now that we're past, I'll just feign death. This spot still works. Huzzah. We are almost to the king on our second attempt. With some very raw, very sloppy shenanigans, but still, we are here. I'm going to target a warlock back there in order to send my pet to it after I pull those mobs. But first, I'll make them trigger a frost trap. This pull, however, did not go exactly as planned, for if you look in the top right here, you'll see a pack of Gordok hyenas sprinting in to meet me. I didn't even see them until they were right on top of me, but I'm blind as a bat. What else is new? Astonishingly, they were not aggroed onto my pet. This is simply their normal patrol behavior. So I try to get back around the corner and hesitate for a moment on feign death while I contemplate the situation, but that 1 second of hesitation was enough to kill me, because I was feared by one of those Gordok captains. This is where the second attempt ends, and I am left wondering where the heck did these Gordok mastiffs come from? Ah well, whatever, we're on to the next attempt. Here we are doing a pet pull on this first back in the hallway, and I do scattershot that Doomguard even though it already spat out its cripple onto my pet, which is now despawned, and I can now feign death safely in between the two packs. Or so I think. For when I turn the corner here, I miss for just a second. The eye was in my sights, but I never spotted it. And I totally forgot to keep an eye out for it. An eye out for the eye. So I check up there, I look down there, but little do I know that the eye is right behind me. Only when the camera zooms out enough do I notice that it's there, but even my quick reaction was not enough to stop it. It did emote in the chat log, but I was totally preoccupied with other thoughts, so I missed that. Now my goal is to survive until I can feign death, strip naked, and then die. But too bad, I have to skip the stripping naked part and die anyway. That's hardly the end of it though. I'm going to attempt to pet pull this second pack again, but I'm going to send my pet at something else, another pack, in order to help put some more distance between it and these mobs. That does not work, because as soon as they leave my sight, the raptor comes right back to my side, and it gets us both killed. This time I'll use the stay spot, and hopefully I can slip by while the mobs are preoccupied. I'll even scattershot this here mage lord so that Rapture has a little bit more time. Not that it does much good, he's virtually one-shot. I'm also going to try something a little bit risky here. I resist the slow component of the frostbolt. I'm going to wing-equip this here brute, and I'm curious if I can loot this here key while this thing lags behind me. I tried for the ICS there, it didn't really work. Nor does this. It goes awry when I'm interrupted by a knock-up, and there's no time for a feigned death. It was a fatal attempt. Here I'm going to scattershot that there brute. Slip by, I've resisted that frostbolt, huzzah. That one goes straight through the wall. Feigned death will drop them all off. And here I'm going to pull one of the patrols into this here freezing trap. But I can't yet slip by and get to the key because there is a patrol incoming. So I'm opting to feign death where I feel safest. And once this here mage lord patrol slips by, I can then go up the ramp and get that key from the center of the courtyard. This time there are no patrols in sight, but that's how it is when you enter the same instance. You'll see that there's my skeleton from before, and remember, as soon as you start an instance, the patrols will begin. So if you're just learning this, it may be ideal to keep resetting as long as you need to keep attempting this first part. In that way, you'll get used to the patrols the way that they are when you enter. You'll learn it the best way. I do not do that because I do want to explore the patrols. This time, I will make it through to the king. I'm gonna eat here real quick because the immolate will kill me otherwise. This time, we will make it all the way through. I'm going to do the pull just like before, except this time I'm going to scattershot that they're Doomguard. Or I would have, if that had not distracted me. For some reason, the Reaver walked right through the trap. I am forced to pop the PvP trinket, but we do get through this pack alive. Alive, but not necessarily well. Once I've recovered, we do this here pack again. And they're almost insta-gibbed. I'm going to drop a second explosive trap, which finishes them off quicker. And the final bug is finished off with some shots. I'm going to scatter concussive this time rather than use a freezing trap. There's the eye in front of me. This time I'm prepared. And I feign death right here by the ramp. Once again, we use the invisibility potion to get on up the ramp. And this time I'm running a little bit more in straight lines, not perfectly straight. And this does prove to be unhelpful because it does end up pulling the pack behind us. I stay calm though. We only have seconds left on Feign Death, so we only need to last about that long. I'm going to scatter shot that Reaver before it can turn the corner and hit me, and Feign Death is off cooldown. Huzzah. Now for that pack by the door. I'm going to try to pull from this position again. I've dropped a trap here, which is tripped this time. And I'll have Rapture get that next Reaver. The other one, the one that is not trapped. I'll scattershot it just to make sure that it deals minimal damage to Rapture. And now I'll see what I can do to dismiss Rapture. This could be close. For some reason, auto shot went through the dismiss pet cast. It matters not though, I do not take aggro. Rapture holds it until he's dismissed. And we're both alive. Now we're on to this next pack. But first I must summon my Lily Root. Better safe than sorry. The Doomguard stops to cast Rain of Fire, so that's pretty harmless. And this time I'm gonna go on the right side. And I'm gonna yeet past Krom Crush before feigning death. He's gonna do his weird paving thing, but I don't really like this spot, so we're gonna go back over to the left side. The spot on the right side is a safe AFK spot, but it's not ideal for moving onto the king. This spot I like the best, so we're gonna use it. These mobs have tripped the frost trap, and I'm going to move on past them. By keeping my pet away, I hope to avoid the fear, and they do not use it, so apparently that worked. As risky as that was. We're still rough around the edges, but we have gotten to the king. There's the dog patrol. I know now that it does go up onto the king's platform, but we're not going to kill it. We've got to practice with it up. I've entered combat for some reason, but I realize that it's the harmless spirits behind me who don't do anything. We might be able to train weapon skills on them later, but for now I'm interested in experimenting with the king. My goal at this juncture is not to kill the king. I want to experiment. We want to keep him alive, so I have not used Hunter's Mark. I'm going to keep Rapture here. I've done a typical pull. I've never actually tried this strategy before, this ancestral ledge strategy, the ledge with the Gordok spirits. So this is completely new to me. I'm going to fire that one shot off, and now we'll chase the king down this way. But golly, is he fast or what? He never skipped leg day. And for some reason, Cho Rush is able to put up a shield on him? It's quite strange. I've applied Viper Sting to him, so hopefully that helps reduce the amount of... the effectiveness of his shielding. As you can see, it's quite tough to break those shields. It took half an auto shot, an aim shot, and another auto shot in order to deal a little bit of damage. And by then, I've already lost him. So, I'll need to learn more about paving on this fight in order to effectively fight him. Like this. As a fresh 60, it is going to be fairly rough, like this. But once we get a little bit more gear, maybe pick up a Barbarous Blade, get more comfortable with the paving here, I'm sure that we can deal with his shield more effectively. Right now, though, it does hurt. My multi-shot dealt pitiful damage there. But we're going to feign death here and try again. We're going to start with an aim shot this time, sort of proper DPS rotation. The aimed auto multi has got out, and only the auto Serpent will be dealing damage. I'm going to keep Viper Stinging Cho. I'm going to try to get him out of mana so that we can do stuff. The king is moving towards me here, but I don't want to feign death yet. He does have Serpent Sting up, and I don't understand yet how Serpent Sting will interact. Serpent Sting has expired, so now I feign death. We'll have to experiment with that later. For now, I must continue to try to get a feel for this encounter. I do not think I can aim shot there, so I break it and then auto shot, and it turns out that works. So I will remember this pillar in this spot. Only now does the power word shield break, and I don't believe that I can catch up to him at this point. But we'll talk about keeping up with the king later. I'm going to Viper Sting Cho before feigning death. And I cannot drink unless I pop up out of feign death into a drink. Otherwise, that happens. The spirits will get us back in combat. Let's start with an aim shot properly this time. It does crit, so it pierces right through that shield. We're going to keep Cho Viper Stung too. Since it doesn't cause threat, I do need to add an auto shot to that. And while I was getting a tab on Cho, I was able to catch up to the king. But that's fine, it does give me the opportunity to bandage here. Now I can feign death, or not. The king has charged me. Quite unexpected, but not unsolvable. Since I was knocked down to the lower ledge, I'm going to try to keep him running towards me, and I'm going to continue using this strange paving in order to keep the king away from me. Cho is with me now, but we can get them both together. And now we run back this way, and I imagine that's all that you do if your feign death resists. Very simple, very easy. Very well handled. That was completely improvised. Here we go, getting an aim shot off on the king quite early, I might add. So we only now break the shield and barely deal any damage to the king. This is, again, something that we must get a rhythm for. Still, I take the opportunity to use some first aid on myself and then feign death before the king gets any closer. We're going to keep Cho and the king together as best we can. Here, my feign death is on cooldown, and by the way, you can actually concussive shot or wing clip Cho Rush. I didn't even try it at this time, I was unaware that it worked. But just saying. Also, on Beast Tracker we can see that the dog patrol is in fact on the king's platform, so we're going to keep an eye out for them. We're going to shoot the king from down here, be very, very safe. And, oh, would you look at that multi-shot? I was trying to multi-sync on Cho and the king to keep them together as best I could, but evidently multi-shot is quite strange on this fight, so that didn't work. The king has charged me once again, but we are knocked a safe distance away. Feign death works. No concern whatsoever. We're going to take this opportunity to use first aid, which, by the way, does cause threat. But since we haven't yet aggroed onto the advisor, or king once again, it didn't attract any unwanted attention to us too early. I retreat back here because there is the dog patrol passing by here, and I do not feel confident moving ahead. But we'll test this. We'll see if we can pass by. I'm gonna pass by right about now. And as you can see, the dogs do not aggro. We are beyond their aggro radius. Serpent Sting has fallen off the king once again, so we'll feign death. The dogs may have passed harmlessly by, but that psychic scream from earlier put Rapture in a terrible position, allowing the King Gordok to charge him right off the ledge. If we had commanded him to attack the king, and then set him to passive once again so he would return to the spot he was meant to stay at, that might have prevented that, but whatever, this ends our first session of experimentation. On this attempt, I'll Viper Cho early and even tank a few Mind Blasts, explicitly for the purpose of ooming him faster. It does seem to be working out. He does not hit terribly hard, and we are able to get the aim shot off. And we can always first aid the damage away. However, some dogs do pull, so it's time to test something else. Let's see how shootable they are up here. It seems that they're not even in my line of sight here, so we would need to get creative in order to manage them and the king and Cho. On this new attempt, we can see clearly that the dogs are patrolling around the king's platform on the Beast Tracker. So we're going to try to manage them once again. We're going to try not to pull them. This time I'm going to move all the way to the left here to try to keep the king to the left so that the dogs are not pulled so easily by him on his way back. Here I feign death, and as I anticipated, he does stick to the left, which helps keep him away from the dogs. We're going to stay out of their line of sight though, just for safety, and we'll see how it feels to run opposite them while shooting the king. Here I'll dish out an auto multi, and keep running along. They're not pulling, and it seems that they'll pass harmlessly by, as before. It seems easy enough. Not too difficult to manage. We'll feign death once again right here. Here I take aggro on Cho just a little bit too early, but I still want to damage the king. I get 2 auto shots off, which is virtually nothing, but there is still time to get some shots off, I think. I suppose, I guess. I want to see. We're gonna loop Cho around here and fire a few pot shots off of the king right here. But it's not as good an idea as I thought, because he was able to charge me off the ledge, and if we were in any worse a position, he could have charged us right into those dogs. But he didn't, so we're going to run back into position and set up for the next kill cycle. Here, I'm a little bit too zealous with chasing after Cho and trying to get that Viper Sting off. I run so far that Rapture actually despawns, which causes Cho to run back towards me. I'm surprised, and when I inevitably have to feign death right here, it drops both of them off me because they have nothing else to run to. Whoops. Here I get a feign death resist on the king, which is always unpleasant. Cho did not resist. He simply stuck in a paving loop, which is common of that area of the platform. You'll see that a lot if you have one of them there. We'll ignore him completely and run around with the king like we did before. And it is actually important to make him run down the center of the platform rather than up this way. We'll see why in a few, but right now we'll keep Cho on us, and we will not feign death just yet. We want them to be a little bit closer to each other. Once again, I'll hop down. And now seems like a good time to pop that feign death. Here is a second feign death resist, and this time we'll make him run around that way, and you'll see why it's such a bad idea. Because when we put up Cheetah and run this way, look at that, there are the dogs right in my way. I am stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm probably going to die, but I pop deterrents, and I try to loop them both around, but it does not work. My struggles were far from over. I have died again and again and again simply learning this farm. Right here I stopped for like a whole second before popping the feign death, but still it does not work as intended. And here comes the eye at the worst possible time. I cannot even kill that before those reavers kill me. Again in the hallway, feign death does not quite work, although I believe I was dead anyway. Here I get a little bit too close to the warpwood pod and it spits out a whole bunch of whiplashes onto me. I toggle Cheetah off and I attempt to get to this here corner to feign death, but this was a wrong decision, even though it does work at first. I am not fast enough getting away from the bugs. I'm momentarily distracted by the glitchy entering combat, leaving combat, and I might have been safe if I were just a little bit faster getting around this here corner, but I was not. I could have also popped deterrents a little bit later when all the bugs were on me in order to optimize its use, but I don't think it would have mattered anyway. I am very, very much dead here. At the ramp here, I wind up getting another feign death resist. One which I might have survived. I popped deterrents here, and I actually do manage to get the eye this time. With a little auto multi. But here come the bugs from behind me. Deterrence is down, and I have nothing now. Here I'm indecisive about which direction I want to go. I wind up ass-pulling these three brutes on the side, and I'm dead here. And again at the ramp, I make a terrible mistake here. I try to feign death when Slipkick is aggroed. He charges me right out of it. And this is another death. But again, I am nothing if not persistent. I have come back. I have come prepared. And this time, the king is going down. Rapture will stay right here. I will mend him up while the king gets to my location. And once he does, I'm going to fire a couple of shots out at him and drop down. I accidentally interrupted my auto shot. A little bit late on that, so that didn't work out too well. But a couple of shots off before Priest Cho put up his shield. I have come to hate Priest Cho. I think he is my least favorite of the Chos, but again, we'll talk about the different kinds of Chos later. I fired my Viper Sting out, and now I will feign death. I've brought some Mage Water, which will really help us keep our mana up between kill cycles. This time I'm going to try baiting some charges by sending Rapture out, just like that. Very simple, very easy. Pet attack or pet passive. I want to keep Cho and the king together, so once again I shoot Cho right there. He stops to cast at me, but at least he's not moving any closer to my pet. In an effort to keep them together more, I wait on feign death and drop down intending to make the king run back that way, but he runs behind me instead, so I feign death immediately. Here's Cho running up towards my pet once again. We're going to keep Viper Sting up on him, and we're going to have to lose a few of his casts to wait for the king to catch up. One more Viper Sting. Viper Sting should do it. That should be enough. Little auto, multi-auto on the king. Cho's nice and far away from him, so no shield today. Not yet, anyway. And we got a few shots off. That was decent. I'm going to keep Hunter's Mark up, too. We need as much damage as possible per kill cycle. Here, this works. We keep them perfectly together. And now the king is back up here, but Cho is slower, so he's moved a little bit far behind. I'm going to fire off my Viper on Cho, and an auto shot, and now we'll lose him. He's almost which means we are almost not going to have to deal with any of those shields any longer. There's the feign death, and it turns out that Serpent Sting is usable even while he's close to you. As long as you don't go back on his threat table and the ticks don't start generating threat soon, then you'll be fine. I did not mean to pop deterrence there, I meant to multi-shot. But I'm a klutz. What can I say? Here's the charge, which is enough for another auto multi. And we'll fire off that Viper Sting on show to keep him home before waiting right here for the king to catch up, and then using Feign Death. This is quite a long kill, but we are whittling the king down slowly but surely. I Vipered Cho again, and that time multi-sync did work. We're going to follow along with the king here, try to get a few more shots off, which we do. And now we're going to wait for the king to move far ahead of Cho because he is faster. We'll Feign Death here, and they should be even. More even anyway, more where we want them to be. Here we get a very nice aimed shot off on the king. And we're going to send Rapture after him. We got to bait that charge. Let's keep Hunter's Mark up too. Keep moving along with him, getting a whole bunch more auto shots off. No charge bait today, it seems. So we'll run over here and try to get that Viper Sting off before popping the Feign Death. Even still, the king is back up there with yet another shield. It is pretty difficult to keep Priest Cho totally so that he can't even use a shield, but we'll have to workshop it. Right now there are dogs incoming, so we need to cling to the left side here. And we'll even Feign Death early, so that they have no chance of pulling. Feign Death. We'll keep away from those dogs. We'll stay on the very edge of the platform. And once the king is back into position, we'll begin another kill cycle. I got another Viper off on Cho, but I end up popping rapid fire at a very strange time here. I do get an auto-aimed auto off right here on the king, but I do not feel confident following him with those dogs around, so I end up missing the window to do much with rapid fire. It's a lesson for next time. I could try to fire that one Serpent Sting out before popping the Feign Death. It was resisted, but it was resisted by one of those spirits, not by the king and not by Cho. Therefore, all that amounts to is that I cannot drink. It was scary for a second, but I'm okay. We're going to keep Viper singing on Cho, so that he cannot shield or anything. And we'll keep him running back towards us. The king will come this way, and we'll fire our aim shot out as soon as it's available, which is now, and it even crits. But I forgot to put Hunter's Mark back up, because it did fall off. Again, it's something that I must get used to. I'm totally out of mana, but I popped a mana potion just in time to get the Viper Sting off on Cho once again, and now we'll Feign Death, and drink. The king is back up, without a shield still, and we can get another aim shot off here. I missed my shot on Cho, but it still pulled aggro for some reason. It's convenient. Feign Death, drink, repeat. And this is all it is. This is very tame compared to the way up. In my opinion, the run up to the king is probably the most intense and difficult part. Once you get here, you can experiment much more easily. It's actually quite easy to reset this fight. The king is starting to slow down to low HP. We could probably kite him around normally if I cared to do so, but no, I intend to finish this correctly. So I'm going to do it safely. I'm going to Feign Death here, and we're going to send him back up. Fire off that aim shot. Keep ahead of Cho, one step ahead of him, by Viper Stinging him and keeping him home. The king still does not have a shield. And still, we are going to play this safe. I'm not going to despawn my pet this time. I'm going to stay back here where it's safe. Viper Cho, as usual. And Feign Death. He's almost down. Just a little bit more. That auto shot on Cho will bring him back towards us. And for some reason, auto shot actually fired out during the aim shot cast time there. I don't know why that happened, but it happened. Just rewind if you didn't see it. King is almost dead. But I am not confident finishing him off in melee. So again, we're going to Feign Death, let him run back up, and we're going to keep trying to kill him. I pulled him early this time. but I don't really like the idea of Cho willing on my pet. So the king is very low, we can finish him pretty much at our leisure. But first, we'll pull Cho off our pet, just in case. However, because I decided to do that, he has enough mana to put one more shield on the king. So my auto multi does not finish him off. I am forced to feign death once again. And this will take even longer as a result. The king has charged me, but he's on my pet, so it's not really that big of a deal. Cho is out of my line of sight. That is not good. I'm going to run around this way, since it's clear and I can get a clear shot at Cho. We're going to yank him off our pet, keep him. I think he's Zoom. Yeah, the Viper Sting was applied. And now we're going to bolt over to the king to finish him off with whatever is available, which is just auto shot. And it turns out that that's enough. The king has finally gone down, and we are at last victorious. Hi there, Cho. You go right on by me, that's right. Let's see what we got for our first time. We got a brightly glowing stone and one of those harmonious gauntlets. Cool. This is only the beginning. We've got to talk to Captain Krom Crush before picking up that tribute chest, otherwise we won't get a full chest. Now we come back and talk to Mizzle, who gives us the King of the Gordok effect. We ask him about the tribute chest, and there it goes. Let's see what we got. Drum roll, please. Ah, mana potions. Always a lovely sight. Ooh, 2 mana potions. Or 2 stacks of mana potions. Those healing shoulders, the counterattack lodestone, ogre forged Alberk, and that green, the bow. Not a bad first chest. But of course, it's only the first of many. The really fun thing about starting this farm as a fresh 60 is that because you're in cruddy gear, the only way to go is up. The ogre forged Alberk was our first upgrade, and we have so much more to collect from here. Practice makes perfect. The first runs may have been really rough, but he who has never made a mistake has never tried anything in his life. Besides, look at what we're capable of now, blazing through pack after pack, taking risks and coming out clean and fast. This, however, is only a sneak peek. We'll formally return to DMT looking quite a bit more polished in a future episode, because I'm out of time for today. That said, I want to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, show me by dropping a like down below. Share this video too, since the more hunters we have up in here, the merrier. If you haven't already, it'd help me out immensely if you were to subscribe and click that bell icon for notifications, so you never miss a new upload. I love bringing new content to you guys, so I hope you love seeing it just as much. Check the description for more links or a skip list, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!